Welcome to the National Council for Hypnotherapy podcast, where we dive into the fascinating world of hypnosis, lifting the lid on hypnotherapy, sharing insights and tips for change as we chat. So sit back, relax, and enjoy all the wonderful possibilities of hypnotherapy. My name is Tracy Grist, and I will be your host today. So I am here with Laura G Therapy. Hiya, you're a psychotherapist and a hypnotherapist, but you do lots of other things alongside it as well, or including with it.
So obviously my background and passion, I guess, is bringing neuroscience and holistic therapists together.
Nice.
So I study obviously hypnotherapist and psychotherapist, but also I do a little bit of Reiki and somatic trauma-informed therapy alongside of it as well, and basically try to get the kind of full shebang of mind, body, and soul. So obviously,
So what is somatic therapy? I've heard it. I've heard a lot about it, but I don't really know.
so somatic therapy is actually a form of hypnosis if you think about it. So it's all around connecting with your body, and I think there's a big trend at the moment, isn't there, with somatics? Everyone's kind of seeing those yoga moves and things like that. But somatics is all around mind body connection.
Okay.
Hypnosis is a part of that if you think about it, because actually when we're asking people to relax and to feel obviously the relaxation wave coming down the body and things like that, then actually what we're doing is we're getting the mind to send a signal to the body to say relax. And I think that's kind of not publicized enough. When people think somatics, they just think yoga and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's kind of how I got into it. And I didn't know myself what somatics was. I kind of started to study it, trained in it. And then I was like, I'm kind of already doing this.
Yeah.
But basically, it's a different form of, obviously, traditional style therapy is talking therapy.
Yeah.
Somatics is all around, you don't have to talk about your problem or the issue. You can actually feel it and allow that emotion to come through, which again, I think hypnosis is a really good, powerful tool for that, because you can process a lot of it when you're in that REM. You have to talk about the issue.
So when you say you sit in it and process it, is that about feeling the feeling or noticing where it is in your
Yeah.
body?
Yeah. So there's different techniques you can use. So there is some obviously yoga moves, which is all around releasing trauma. And that's why you see a lot of those hip movements and things like that. But it
Yeah.
is ultimately connecting back with your body and almost like almost asking yourself how you feel, but then also where do I feel that? So an example of what I will say to clients is, how do you feel about that and where do you feel it? And it's easier to sometimes say where you feel it versus how you feel. So what they tend to say is like, I feel it in my chest, actually. I feel really like, yeah, tight.
Yeah.
And then I use techniques such as, okay, imagine if we was giving that a colour, what colour would it be? And then let's breathe the colour out, and you'll be so surprised at how that in itself can really, really help somebody.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think like the conversation we was having before, wasn't it, about kind of this kind of what I call new age therapy, but actually it's old age. But it isn't. I think for most kind of Westerners, we kind of a little bit like, oh, that's really wacky and that's woo woo. And it's not at all. It's all traditional therapists that have been around from the Eastern side. And I feel like they're just coming over to the
Yeah.
Western way of living. So even hypnosis, the conversation was on before about people kind of going, oh no. And I think when I work with a lot of clients, the first thing I'll joke to them is like, okay, obviously if you're from the 90s, you will remember sitting down on a Saturday night watching a famous hypnotherapist go right to sleep and things like that. And it's not like that at all. So a lot of people, I think, come a little bit skeptical or a
Yeah.
little bit nervous, going, am I going to lose control? Am I going to fall asleep? Are you going to make me do something? And I'm like, no, clinical hypnotherapy isn't like that at all. It's basically just allowing your brain waves to get into an altered state, and your brain to use different parts of it to allow you to see the problem from a different view.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I think because I think I'm a different generation, and I grew up on Columbo, and it would be like when the watch struck 12, kill the president, kill the president. And as though the hypnosis is this incredible, like magical tool that steals minds.
yeah, and I think that. So I think if we can really, and I think that's kind of why I try and bring it all together, because a lot of the time, sometimes I'll say it's like just like a relaxation.
Yeah.
And I think again, I've seen so many positive changes in people. I think even people who come to me, and that I joke because a lot of people will say, "You was my last resort." So I'm kind of like, "Oh, Laura, story of my life, the last resort." But when they see such amazing changes, like, and I'm talking things like phobias over blood, phobias of being sick, weight loss, even living with anxiety for years, and trauma, and I think people are even shocked themselves when they kind of come to the end of the almost like the sessions, what they feel of their journey. It's like, I can't believe this actually worked, and it's like, yeah, you know what, it does, doesn't it?
And it works without causing pain. I think there's an expectation, particularly with therapy or counselling, that we're supposed to leave feeling really upset and like miserable because we've been unpacking the trauma case. And actually, I feel like part of our job is raising that, oh, actually, I can do therapy and not feel like I've been battered.
Yeah, that is one thing I think a lot of people say. They almost like say, I feel lighter. I was expecting to, but I think that shocks some people because I think, like you said, traditional kind of how people think therapy, it's going to be this person with a clipboard writing things down, looking at you. And when they come and it's quite a relaxed,
Yeah.
I've got my clinic in like an acre of a land where I live as well. So it's quite therapeutic. And when people come, they almost say, oh wow, I just feel like I can take off the mask that I've been facing the world, and then when they leave and they're feeling lighter, and they say, what, I didn't have to tell you all about my mum and dad, and I'm like, no, because you've told that story 1,000 times,
Yeah.
like you've been giving it the airtime. Let's look at this problem, this issue a different way. What would you be thinking about if you wasn't thinking that?
Yeah.
I think that's what shocks a lot of people because they think that they've got to sit there and, like you said, be uncomfortable and it get aching, use a pack of tissues and things like that. And if they've not used that, then it's not working. But when they come back
Yeah.
for the second session and they say, I don't know what's changed, but something has changed, and it's like, there we go. And I think that's the beauty. That's why I love doing what I do, because probably that people are still skeptical. And then when it has worked, the shock of the face that they kind of go, the amazing bit is when they kind of have got what I call out of the crisis, they then start doubting themselves again. They're almost like, I'm worried now it's going to come back. And it's like, oh, okay. Like,
Let's work with that.
yeah, because I feel like I guess I get people describing things almost like I do a little bit of body work as well. So I kind of go, okay, not like explain that personality of that person, but that person that's been like that worries every day. What kind of traits have they got? What do they worry about? Why do they worry? And almost get them separating themselves from it as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Really out in itself because they kind of go, yeah, why would I do that?
yeah, yeah. And it's that thing, isn't it? Because we've had something for a long time, doesn't necessarily mean we need to keep it. And it was our
Yeah.
norm. Doesn't have to continue to be our norm. Like,
Yeah.
if you're released
Almost
from
like
prison.
attachment.
Sorry, say that again.
Yeah. Almost like an attachment, isn't it? People get attached to it. And I think that, and I always say, like, I think when I work with a lot of people, that the therapy is scary.
Yeah,
And I am so passionate about like trying to stop that stigma because, and I think some of it has been because we've just, like I said, the generation has been, oh, you just put up with it, don't you? And it's like, no, we really don't just put up with it. There's help out there, and actually, you can do this, and you're worth the investment in yourself.
Yeah.
I think once people have made that initial decision, haven't they, of the I'm tired of being like this, I think there's only one way, and that's up, isn't it? Then, and then when they see the benefits, and a lot of it comes through, I think, recommendations, because, as we said, hypnosis is one of those things where people kind of think, oh yeah, I can't be hypnotized, and it's like, really? Okay, like that car that you brought, what made you buy it? Oh, I saw an advert. Oh well, and things like that. So I think there's still that perception of people thinking, no, I'm in control of my mind and I can't do what anybody tells me to do and things like that. And it's like, well, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I'm going to give you ideas of what you want to do. So I
Brilliant.
still think it's that kind of, I think, a big education piece that maybe as therapists, as hypnotherapists, we could still do to be able to show people and let people feel that they actually, it will work for them.
Yeah, and that they know that they're in control, and they know that it's a shared experience, isn't it? In the same way that it's a shared experience watching a Marvel film on telly.
Yeah.
Of the, you're choosing to be there, and you're choosing to go on a journey, and then the rest is up to you. Whether you watch a Marvel film eating snacks, or you watch a Marvel film and get up and down, or you still got to control, even though you're enjoying the film.
And I think that's the thing, isn't it? A lot of people, when they kind of come back, kind of when I say open your eyes, they're like, I didn't hear anything you said. And I'm like, that's great, because your subconscious has heard it all. And the analogy I normally use is, if they worry about they can't hear it or they've got to be listening, then I'll say, okay, when you go to bed at night and you're asleep and your alarm clock wakes you up, like, you're not listening out for your alarm clock. You just hear it and you know to get up, and they're like, oh yeah. So I think there's still, like I said, the how it works. I love explaining that about the neuroconnectors, and again, bringing the neuroscience side in it. But for me, I think what still amazes me to this day is the human psyche, the kind of who we are as people, is so complex but so blinking amazing. Like, you can literally close your eyes and visualize walking down some steps, and we use the sensors and things like that, and you can almost sometimes see people like smiling in it, and you think, yeah, you're there, and then they wake up and it's like, wow, God, I've just, something's just,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it, because we are amazing creatures, amazing human beings that can actually, when we put our mind to something, we can do it. The trick, I guess, is putting your mind to it, which we can then use with hypnosis.
Yeah, and feeling confident to put your mind to it, and feeling that you can, and having that support, I think is really important. Support and encouragement, and feeling good enough.
Yeah, yeah. And even, I mean, I get a lot of clients who are kind of out of what I call the crisis. They come for like just monthly well-being sessions,
Yeah,
almost treating it like a massage for the mind. And I do that. So I always say, you wouldn't think twice. If you've got a knot in your neck, you would absolutely not think twice to go and see a masseuse or a chiropractor or something like that. But yet, what is the difference when you've got these blocks or demons in your mind, I guess? Why would you then not think, I'm going to go and sit and reach out to somebody to help me? It's such a different way we look at it, and it shouldn't.
it's weird, isn't it? Because I think that about going to the gym. Like, people will go to the gym 3 times a week and work out, and not actually work on their mind or work out their mind. And it's finding that place. Mind you, I don't go to the gym, but there's learning there. But maybe if people can see that they don't have to be in a trauma state to come, and actually there's some tweaks that they want to work on, or there's a block, or there's somebody difficult at work, or all of those things, that actually, why not have a little pep up with
Yeah.
hypnosis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually, yeah, because that's why I introduce, I guess, some of the holistic side. So I do like sound healing therapy, which is sound bowls, but I also put a bit of hypnosis in it as well. So hold group sessions for those who I kind of, I guess, feel a little bit like, okay, I'm gonna have to sit opposite somebody on the sofa and I'm gonna have to speak. And they're so popular. I mean, they sell out every month because they are for the people. What I say, if you don't, not like, I mean, we gaslight ourselves, don't we? Like, oh yeah, I'm not ill enough to go and see somebody. It's like, but you don't have to be ill. You can literally just
Yeah.
tuck in and be like, you know what, I just need a break. I need a brain break. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like, let's get on the couch and let's just send you wherever we like to go. And so the group ceremonies, I guess, are a little bit more, the sessions are a little bit more relaxed for people who aren't ready to sit opposite somebody.
Yeah.
They want to come for what I kind of call a general top up. So I get the little sound bowls out. So we use sound frequencies, and then I basically use hypnosis to send them on a deep journey. And at the end, you just see people like just like almost going, yes, life's brilliant and rewarding. But like you said, you don't have to be in a place. It's a little bit like what we said about the gym. Wait until you get obese to then decide to go to the gym. Actually, let's get to the gym before that it gets to that point. So it's exactly the same with the mind, isn't it? Modern day living, like we're kind of in a probably any first time in our life where we are 24/7, go, go, go. So I think, I mean, I'd like to believe in the next year or so or 2 years, anybody who hasn't got a therapist, then actually you're not kind of with the times. So it's almost like we'd have a therapist, just like we'd have a coach for something else, or just like the GP or something. You'd actually go to your therapist. And I think in America, it is like that, isn't it? They've really cottoned on to the fact that, okay, I go and see my therapist, and it's just this person that you can share your life with and that you leave offloaded,
Yeah.
ready to then face the rest of it. And I would love nothing more than for the UK to catch up with those times and it become this part of who we are as a human.
Well, and it's recognizing that our family and friends have got an investment in us in a different way to how our therapist does. And, you know, we're there for our clients as therapists, as a safe space, as some protected unit for them to explore and improve if they want to, or relax if they want to. And knowing that we don't have a, what's it called? Like, we don't have a
It's an
demand.
invested interest, isn't it?
Yeah,
I always say
thank
that.
you. Yeah, yeah.
I get, and again, a lot of people were like, oh, my friend said this. And I'm like, but they're looking at it from, and it's called like codependency, isn't it? So as a therapist, of the work you do on yourself,
Yeah.
to make sure that when somebody walks into a room that you're not triggered, or you're not kind of coming in from a friend point of view, like, well, if I was you, I'd be doing that. And that's ultimately what friends do, don't they? Because they take on your battle. Whereas we're this kind of, like you said, an offload, but then also a non-judgmental, independent friend, I guess, where I don't know that person that you're talking about. I've not got any
Yeah.
in person invested interest. So yeah, tell me what's going on. And I think what a lot of the time when I get the people who are kind of just coming for the wellness, they're like, I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about. Then all of a sudden,
How it comes.
and
Yeah.
again, they laugh, they're like, yeah, I thought I was actually all right. It's like, you are, but what you've done is you've just been able to offload. Like, if you'd not come here, think you'd be continuing to carry that around. And then guess what? Another week goes by and you're carrying that around, and another week, and then that's when it starts to get heavier and heavier. And it is like an heaviness, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. That we just build up and we build up until we don't know where we are again. So, what made you get into this whole realm of healing and therapy? What was your pathway?
Yes, I've been on this, I call it my own personal quest, I guess, since in my 20s. So I remember I was in an high-end corporate job, very, very stressed. And I stepped into meditation. And I remember having this amazing experience in meditation, like, oh my gosh, my body felt so light. And then I got into Reiki and all of the wellness stuff. But I guess when it got more clinical was, I've got two children, and my son is 13 now. But when he was at infant school, he's always been a bit of a stressful child, like a bit of an anxious child. And again, me, I was quite anxious, but you don't look at yourself, do you? Like, oh, I'm not anxious, I'm just really, really on it. And I'm like, yeah, I was an anxious wreck. Like, that must have somehow like passed on to, because obviously anxious mom, anxious child, where kind of nervous system gets dysregulated. And it got to the point where he didn't really want to go to school. And what he was doing, he was physically being sick. Every morning he'd wake up and he'd be physically sick, like to the point where he was sick. And then he'd go to school. And again, knowing what I know now about the nervous system and how things work, it was like, crikey, he was in flight, fight or flight every day. And what happened is my husband, love him to bits, but he's literally like, well, that's just what you have to do every day. It's like, what? You have to be, no, I'm like, that is not, no human being.
Yeah.
He'll wake up every day feeling sick and being sick. That's not normal. That is not, but again, our some mindset is like, oh, that's what you do. No. And I took him, I guess, I kept thinking, if I can't help him, he's my son.
Yeah.
If I can't help him, then who can? And I took him to the GP, and rightly or wrongly, they're stretched. They're not professionals. They're not mental health professionals. They kind of almost didn't really know what to do, because we're talking a few years ago. And then I went on a mission then to kind of think, right, I've got to sort this. I've got to really, if I can't help him, then no one can. And then I came across the hypnotherapy school, obviously, that I trained with and things like that. And that's when I just went into it personally for him, like going, I just need to learn that hypnosis could help him, because I just read some studies about how you can use hypnosis and how it can help regulate the nervous system, how it can build confidence.
Yeah.
And I knew for him talking therapy wasn't the way, because I'd got a good relationship with him, where he used to say to me, Mum, I don't know what it is. And I thought, so even if I paid for him to go and sit opposite somebody to say what it is, it's going to frustrate him more. So I almost needed something that we don't need to know what it is, but we need something that we can just get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I studied, and I used him as my case study, and literally within 2 of the sessions, he'd stopped being sick. And it was the most proudest moment of my entire life, because so what happened one morning is he got up and he just went to school. And I knew he'd not been sick. He didn't, but I didn't want to kind of go, oh, this thing that we've been trying to... And about a week went by, and then he was going, I remember it was a Wednesday morning, and he got in the car and he's like, I've not been sick today, Mummy. I'd almost like he'd done this double, like, I've not been sick. And I said, you've not been sick for over a week, mate. He went, I hadn't, have I? And he's like, it's magic. And I'm like, yeah. And from that moment on, it kind of bred into a business, because I'd only qualified and studied for him. I was an information security officer. I had a really good corporate job. And then friends started hearing about it. So they was like, oh, can I bring my child? And oh, can I come? And then it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And my reputation, I'm kind of based in the Midlands in Derby. So my reputation got out there, and then it got that big that I then quit my job and kind of got into it full time. And it's just been no looking back from then. And I use my son as my kind of example of, this is why I care so much, because it's not just something I decided to do one day. It's like I've seen and I've felt and I've lived in that place where, when you are stuck in that rut, that you will try anything. So I've got real passion. And I'm actually, my daughter's just undergoing some driving lessons now. So we've just used hypnosis.
Brilliant.
She was quite panic on the road. So it was like, everything's right, come on the couch. But my daughter, she was so funny, because she's like, originally, she's like, why couldn't you just be a normal mum and do eyelashes and beauty stuff? Like, why do you want to be a therapist? And then lo and behold, when she's kind of now getting on the road and she's like, Mum, I think I feel really nervous. I think I need to come and have a session. And I'm like, wow, come on in. So
yeah. I have it. I just have scorn from my boys. Like, Mum, don't put the voice on. The voice on. No, I'm not. I'm just saying, how was your day? No, but that's when you know they're fine. Like, they just, it's lovely, isn't it? And but also the stress of being a mum and worrying about your babies and worrying about and how much we take personally and what motivates us and what scares us. That I can't think of anything worse than worrying about my children in the whole world. And it's so hard, isn't it? Finding help and finding the right resources for our babies.
And the right person, I think. I think what's important is that do have to gel with that person. So I do work with a lot of children and adults, and normally I get kind of family members coming because I think a lot of the time it's like, oh, and normally it's as parents, like I said, we invest in our children.
Yeah.
And then when the parents have seen the child, it's kind of changed, and it's like, yeah, maybe I need to go. And then mum starts to come, then dad, and then sisters and uncles, and it just, and I think there's nothing more brilliant than that, than everybody deciding to almost go, yeah, you know what, yeah, I want to live this good life, and it's almost like you get to see on the other side.
Yeah.
Life doesn't have to be a struggle. We don't just have to put up. You can, there is like happiness there if you think about it.
And I think with that, it's again, it comes back to that bit, doesn't it? Where we're so used to carrying our stuff, and like you were saying about the layers and layers and layers, and we forget that we don't actually have to carry it.
Yeah, yes, yeah, gosh, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
I actually love that because that's actually true. So I can imagine people now listening almost going, What the biggest, it's almost like that, the biggest lie you've ever been told, you have to carry everything.
Yeah.
Like, no,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, put those giant sacks down. You don't need them.
it just feels like that, doesn't it? It feels like bricks on your shoulders and heaviness, and I always say you can see the weight of the world that people are carrying. You only have to look out and see it, and you think, crikey, just coming for a lovely session, and almost like the
Yeah.
lifting of the body opens up, and it's like, wow, ready for the next
Yeah. Yeah. The next
load
bit.
of crap that's going to throw us. Let's be real. We don't live in a fairy tale. Life is like, you know what? Crap. Life can throw crap at us. But again, it's like you said, having those pockets of air of moments to go, right, let me put my crap down for a minute.
Yeah.
Right, okay, back, let's go. But you're lighter. You would never go to like a battlefield and war every single day without new ammunition or without new kind of armor. So why are we going every single day in life?
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
that point?
Yeah, just exhausted, like doing the same. And I think it's that, like, why aren't we giving ourselves permission to do these nice things and do these lovely things? I think I'm guilty of it as well. That why not take myself off to do something really nice and jolly? Why do I think that I've got to, oh, the dishes don't get done by themselves, all of that life pressure, whereas actually, no, it's okay to take a bit of time out. It's okay.
Yeah,
She says,
yeah.
holiday. La 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 la.
But even I always say to people, like, how often do we want to have a holiday away from life? Like, why not create a life that you don't need to take a vacation from?
Yeah.
Yes, holidays are nice, but wouldn't it be brilliant if you could actually walk into your holiday without feeling exhausted? Actually doing the holiday because you want to do it, not because you feel you need to.
Yeah, yeah,
Hypnosis and having the right therapy and things like that is almost like having that little holiday
yeah,
during
yeah,
the week. We don't need to pay 4 or 5 grand for it.
yeah. And it's that thing, isn't it, where the pressure, we almost wear it like a bit of a bit of a. I've not got words today. I'm just going to find them a minute in my head.
Yeah, I like your actions.
Yeah, yeah. We wear these flags that say, I work 12 hours a day. I'm like the champion of like being really mean to myself. And we can show off. And it's like, I wish that it wasn't so like, I wish it wasn't so, it's a good thing that we're working ourselves to death. I
Yeah, people
really,
almost pride themselves on it, don't they? I was that person years ago. I remember, when you saw someone, I'm busy,
yeah,
busy, and it's like I'm doing life better than you because I'm busy. And
yeah,
now I pride myself on like going, right, okay, when have I got time to just sit and do nothing? And I actually use hypnosis for myself. So I've recorded myself and I plug in and lie down and people will say, "Well, how can you listen to your own voice?" But I think when you are in it and when you're so relaxed in it, that voice could be anybody's.
yeah,
I
yeah.
need to be taken down some steps and just gone somewhere, and it allows me to then show up for people and old space and things like that. So
Well, and
yeah.
also, you know what you need, like when things are rolling and they're nice, and where we know what you need. It might be different when you're in a trauma space, but like that self, it's nourishment, isn't it? It's like drinking a protein shake for the mind.
Yeah, it really is.
And so you know what you need and you know when you need it. And I think we overwrite this. So, well, maybe again, it's that pylon of like, blah, blah. We don't hear ourselves going, actually, we need a bit of downtime, or we need to watch telly, or just do ordinary things without constantly championing, like doing extraordinary things.
Yeah, and I think it's like you said, giving yourself permission. One thing I've learned, I guess, on this wellness journey myself is no one's ever going to come to me and give me permission. So I've got to take that permission myself because it's almost like we wait, don't we? We wait for somebody to tell us, like,
Yeah.
you're not coping very well or you're in a bad place. I'm never going to get that. I love my husband to bits, but he will not recognize if I'm in a crisis. He'd step over me and be like,
You're in the way. Where's the sausage roll?
yeah, yeah. So I've had to really learn to go, actually, no one is going to look out for me. So I've got to look out for myself.
Yeah,
And that means giving myself permission to do those things
yeah,
that allow me to feel good. And I think that's the biggest thing is when you're on starting on this journey, I guess, is deciding that you don't want to feel like this anymore is the best thing. And then not then going, okay, what do I want to feel? Because that will be feel so overwhelming because you don't know any different. But just making that decision that actually I don't want to feel like this anymore. That's a big enough step, I think, for anybody to then say, right, I'm now going to go and give myself permission to find somebody that can help me not feel like this anymore. And then that's where I feel the magic starts.
yeah. And I think it's doing it. There's something in there, isn't there, about like don't wait until you feel good enough. Just do
Mm.
it. Because most people have got that constant battle of I don't feel good enough, I don't feel worthy, or I don't feel all of those things. Don't wait for that to be sorted. Just go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I said, don't wait for it because why wait? Why spend another day
Yeah.
feeling like that when actually it's yeah. I think look after your inside as much as you look after your outside. That's I think there's a generational thing coming through where girls and I'm all up for it, but trying to look pretty and all that, and it's beautiful. But if you're not feeling good in the inside, no
Yeah.
amount of like lip filler, lashes, whatever, will fix it. So let's start from the foundations in,
Yeah.
and the rest it just allows you to feel it. So
Yeah, and I think that's it. And I'd like to think that good therapy is that journey to feeling good on the inside, to feeling good enough, and
absolutely.
to like claiming yourself. And I think so. It sounds like you sort of came into a bit of a slipstream into your work. Then, sorry, I'm just like, whoop, whoop. like you got into the flow of what you should be doing. Did it become
Yes.
easy as you were doing? Oh, I'll do a little bit of this and a little bit of this.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I think the part I faced first off is how I combine holistic and neuroscience. How do I market myself? How do I bring it together? But that's gone really, really well, I think, and it just fell. And I think there is a big lesson for me in it. It's like, you know what, once you find your purpose, and I remember searching for what is a purpose, and now I find it. I think the because it's a passion as well, I have to kind of check in on myself and be like, right, no, Laura, you've seen like 38 clients this week. Step back, have a moment for yourself, because it is so rewarding. And then I have to go, right, I've got a family inside that need feeding and things like that. So I have to kind of put myself back into it. But yeah, it feels nice. And I always go, again, I was this person that would never have understood what feelings were, because I was a thinker.
Right.
So I go a lot now, and like, it just feels right. I check in and go, how does it feel? And I use it a bit like a jacket. So imagine I'm trying one jacket on and I'm like, nah, that doesn't feel right. Right, let me try another jacket. Yeah, this is the one. So I always kind of use things like that when I'm like, how do I feel about this?
Nice.
Imagine I use kind of hypnosis and the power of the mind a little bit within that as well. Right, I don't understand this problem now, but if I've got a decision to make, let me use power of the mind and to go, right, imagine it's a coach. No, okay, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
And my family laugh at me because they're like, Mum, you make massive decisions based on what coach on. And I'm like, well, like, because if you let your mind get involved in it, sometimes the mind isn't always it will talk you out of it. You can literally talk yourself into a rut, can't you? So.
And that it's a good way of getting in touch with yourself and using those metaphors and it is about the lightness, isn't it? And about playing.
Yes, yeah, we take life so seriously, don't we? So serious. It's like, why not? Why not make a little bit of a fun in it and kind of go, yeah, because, I can honestly say I've never made the wrong decision based on putting a metaphorically jacket on.
Your jacket.
Not yet.
I'll check in on that.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, do you know, it's been so lovely talking to you. I would love to talk again and catch up again. But what we'll do is we'll put your links and your connections so that people know where you are and can reach out, talk about their invisible jackets.
Yes, yeah. So I'm quite visible on social media as well, and I've got my own podcast as well. Because again, sometimes it's about again trying to normalise.
Yeah.
Is normal. Let's stop making it the shady thing and the secret thing. It's like, you know what? Let's just talk about it. It's who we are. So yeah, anybody who wants to give me a follow or use some tips and things, they can.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, lovely chatting to you, Laura. That's great. Thanks very much. Okay, bye-bye.